Welcome to the show, 5-Star Fam. I'm AJ, and this is Marc. And wherever it is you get your pods, subscribe, share, and leave us a good rating.
This segment is sponsored by Thinking Man Tavern, a cozy Decatur neighborhood pub. Grab a tasty beverage from a wide variety of selections and a plate of something delicious from the menu. To go, check out Thinking Man Tavern.
Welcome to another 5-Star Weekly episode, and yes, Atlanta United are back in the win column, and this time against Charlotte FC, the new boys on the block. And they have come in talking some trash. You know, David Tepper, their owner, he was saying some things probably about maybe a year or so ago about Atlanta, saying screw that city. And we kind of pretty much answered that with our tifo that had Arthur Blank wearing "We Are That City," and with a whole bunch of trophies. It very much is that. It's Atlanta United. We show them that we are that city that wins things, aka this soccer match, but also that we win trophies, and it's something that Charlotte doesn't really know too much at the moment. So it's definitely, of course, yes, they're brand new. Of course, how could they have won anything? But they didn't even score a goal before this match, so it is definitely they have that now. I guess they that monkey is off their back. They can say that they scored it against us. Mighty Atlanta United that they scored it against. I'm just gonna lean in on all this trash talk, and but basically, it starts off as well. This match, we have a big line share of that possession and control. We are peppering their goal early on, but it gets into pretty much the maybe 39th minute or so where Charlotte FC kind of get into the match, back into it with a couple of really, really good chances. A couple of headers that have Guzan and co really on their toes to keep them out of the net, and it's something that in terms of big chances, it was a little closer than it really needed to be for really the entirety of the match. Like they essentially kind of go almost route one a little bit at times in terms of how they're fashioning their chances. But in terms of that first half, would you agree? It's kind of pretty much we are in control, but in the final third we're really lackluster so far. So far in the whole season, pretty much, kind of in kind of in live play, we have not really been maybe the most clinical.
I would agree with that. I think also it has a lot to do with the personnel. That sort of front six, if you want to call it that, the midfield and the front three. There's definitely been some shuffling, and so I think for a precise attacking team, or at least one that's on sync, like you need that chemistry. So I think Atlanta United is still building that. I think Pineda is still implementing his system in that sense, even though of course he's been here for half a season already, but with only one preseason under the belt. Also I think like every offseason you try to work on some wrinkles. So I imagine there's that. It was in this particular match, so Alonso started, which I don't think any of us expected this time last week, but it was great to see him on the field and obviously most importantly cleared. I think he played a big role. I think also the front three was interesting with Lennon and Wolf on the wings, at times switching. I thought Lennon, it's kind of hit or miss. I think he's probably better as a right back than an actual winger, but he's a classic tweener in that sense. But I think with Brooks Lennon you get quickness, athleticism, and a good work rate. I think that certainly played a part in the second half. But also what was interesting looking at the shots, so in total we had 14 shots. 8 were on frame, meaning, 8 were on frame and 5 were blocked. And so they didn't have too many inaccurate shots, but I think, spacing was difficult. And, I thought Charlotte was pretty compact and pretty disciplined throughout the match.
And it's also that. It's like with Guzan, with the saves that he had to make. I mean, he gets a lot of stick from some fans, and I think it's kind of unwarranted a lot of times because he's a guy that, shot stopping wise, like he's done the job. I think for the most part, the long range, maybe he gets caught out sometimes, but definitely in this sense, like he, he like doesn't really put a foot wrong too much. Like,
right.
Definitely if because we're passing it around the back, and I don't really ever feel not secure with him, getting the ball at his feet. Now, are his long balls always the most accurate? No. Is he going to pass a ball to Josef Martinez that's gonna like land at his foot and so he can score? Also, no. I mean, he's an MLS goalkeeper at this point. It's gonna be what it's gonna be, and the level of just ability on the ball is gonna be what it is. But I think he's an above average option in the league right now. But we're there.
Yeah, I mean, I thought last season he would have been at least the top 5 keeper, based on performance, and generally speaking, I think anybody who knows the league well enough wouldn't leave him outside of top 10. You know what I mean? So I think that he is a good goalkeeper, especially for the league. And then some of those things you were talking about in terms of like accurate long balls or diagonals or straight to the striker. I mean, that's stuff that like Ederson and Allison and keepers at the very top of Europe do. That's not necessarily a skill that you would expect from most keepers anyway. So at the end of the day, in terms of especially by MLS standards, you could do a lot worse than Guzan. And I think the main thing for me, given his age and his salary, is that the club have a clear succession plan in place. But as long as he's performing, there's no reason. I mean, he should continue playing for Atlanta United.
Indeed, dude. And so getting into that second half, there's definitely we make some good moves kind of later in the half, but in terms of a really good ball by Ronald Hernandez to find Brooks Lennon, I think this is where, it starts to kind of the tide changes a bit for sure, one would say, because the penalty happens. Basically, that ball over the top to find Lennon in space, and the penalty is called because basically, he gets there before the the defender, and there is that kind of shoulder to shoulder, but it's that extension of that arm that pushes down Lennon that makes it pretty clear for me that it is a penalty. I mean, he is like pushed onto the ball in the box. Charlotte fans may have their opinion on it, but what do you think?
Yeah, I would say so. Even going back to the first half, I think that the over the top ball was the one that was on. It's probably going to be the one, our most likely route of success. And we saw Brooks Lennon's athleticism on that play, and I think that in terms of the decision, the key is that he gets like the defender's wrong side. If he's shoulder to shoulder with Lennon and he's able to see the ball out, then I don't think there's a call. But Lennon, I think, beats him to the ball, gets just ahead of him, and going at that speed, even a nudge is gonna, send him tumbling. So, I think that the vast majority of the time, that penalty is given. So I think it's the right call.
Yeah, and so Josef Martinez steps up to take that penalty. And there's a little bit of some kind of shithousery, a little bit. The Charlotte players are trying to put off Josef Martinez, as one has been wont to do there. Now, it's probably a little harder to do this on this turf, but you have seen other players maybe scuff the spot a little bit, and that definitely warrants some like yellow cards if that ever happens, of course. But nothing of that sort was happening, but they were definitely trying to put him off, like crowding him a little bit, and definitely trying to intimidate. And yeah, you know, you saw some players that with some of that veteran presence kind of intervene, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think you saw that throughout the match, honestly. And I think but yeah, definitely noticed that on the penalty itself. Like, there were a couple players standing in front of Josef, and it looked like they were making contact with the ball, which is another form of shithousery, but it did seem like they were maybe trying to get in his head, talk to him, you know, put him off, and see Alonso and another Atlanta United player kind of step in, separate them, you know. And I think, yeah, it's, you know, for a player who just joined the team this season to kind of show that know-how and that, you know, really just leadership, I think is pretty encouraging.
Right. And it's that you need that kind of on-field general that is a little closer to the ref a little bit. As you have Brad Guzan, who's the captain, who is in his goal. He's not always going to be able to be in the ear of the ref, and it's someone that's, you know, a little closer in the midfield. That's kind of generally, with that, it's very useful to have someone of the ilk of Ozzy Alonso, who thankfully, has, like, in terms of was cleared to play for this, obviously, but the heart issue, it was revealed afterwards in the press conference that his heart is actually a little large, and so it is like a thing where it's almost this. I don't want to make too much light of it, but it's almost like the anti-Grinch, you know, where Grinch was his heart was 2 times too small. Well, Ozzy, you know, showing a lot of heart here, and definitely a good thing here to stand up for his teammate in Josef Martinez. And Josef Martinez, you know, he's had this before, where other players from other teams try to put him off, and he's not phased. He does his customary stutter step, and he, you know, the keeper dives the same way, but is able to put it in the corner just far enough out of his reach, and it is 1-0. And Josef Martinez, he celebrates with 1/2 of the Dragon Ball Z fusion, which, exactly, just the ultimate feels here, because also, of course, you have this kind of coincide with the news that Miguel Miron may not be kept at Newcastle, so he may not be a Magpie for much longer after this season. Might be moved on, and there are whispers that maybe LAFC could be interested, and they have an open DP spots. I must ask, is this something that if Miguel Miron comes to MLS and does not come to Atlanta United, how would you feel?
Yeah, I think that's probably unavoidable. If he comes to MLS, you know, like, because I'm wondering, like, has he made enough of an impression in Europe, playing for Newcastle, to where a mid-table Serie A or La Liga team would be interested? But, you know, we've also seen those kind of players actually come to MLS and do well, like Vela, like Giovinco, obviously Insigne is on his way. So, you know, and if LAFC is interested, I mean, you know, he has a young kid, so LA probably wouldn't be the worst place for him to go. There's also, you know, I could see him being an option for some of the big Mexico teams as well. So it's, I mean, I think, I could definitely see him in at least North America again. It would just be something we have to live with. He's,
and it's this too. I mean, like, he could drop down into the championship if that is a level 2, if he wants to stay in Europe, and if it's somewhere maybe in La Liga, like you said, or even Bundesliga, that could be. I mean, I think he has the talent to stay in Europe. Like, he is definitely not a player that just has to come right back. That would, I would feel like, a little bit of a step backwards for sure for him.
Yeah.
You know, to a large degree, because I mean, how well he played here, it was like MVP territory. So it's like,
Right.
you know, it would be tail between the legs coming back, and I don't think maybe that's maybe his MO, what he's gonna really want to do. He's probably gonna exhaust his options in Europe before he returns. But LAFC, yeah, I mean, it's probably better than the chilly north in Newcastle. That you know, that's way better probably in terms of a climate, probably. But back to this match, yeah, you know, we concede a little bit of a kind of gut punch. Definitely a goal that probably could have been avoided, but yeah, from a set piece where you know, they get essentially a free header and are able to put it past Guzan on a diving, you know, to his right, essentially. That I'm not really sure he could have done really too much about that. I think it's really on the defense to really make sure that it doesn't, you know, get in and around the area where, you know, they need to put off the player, they need to head it away. We just were not good enough on the set piece, and it is what it is. So it's 1-1, and it's 1-1 almost until the 96th minute. But before that, yeah, coming off, you know, Sadic, and yeah, Jake Mulroney comes on. Moreno also comes on, and a couple of guys that you know, also Thiago Almeida, like guys that kind of contribute to this, you know, ultimately a win. But I mean, yeah, talking through this just ridiculous kind of last gasp, essentially, that does happen. It is quite an outrageous ball by Marcelino Moreno, who it's, I don't know, 60, 70 yards that he's able to find from some space in our half, you know, and on the left side, able to find a Jake Mulroney in space. And Jake Mulroney, yeah, he's dribbling, he's taking on Christian Fuchs, their captain, who probably looks visibly tired, and you know, doesn't know probably the scouting report on Jake Mulroney, that is he a right footer, left footer, like is he gonna, you know, go to the byline for a pullback? I mean, basically, in my mind, when I saw it go to Jake Mulroney, I'm like, he's going left all day. He's you know, he's doing his best impersonation of you know, homeboy from Bayern Munich, and yeah, I mean, it's essentially like, yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a deflection. There is a little bit of you know, some fortuitous in terms of the defending. It probably yeah, at that point everyone was just dog tired, and yeah, they've been defending most of the match. 96 minutes, and Jake Mulroney, yeah, you know, he's able to find the back of the net from that deflection, and yeah, we everyone in the stadium, at least, is gasping, going crazy, and yeah, you know, definitely for Atlanta United fans, we go home happy. For Charlotte fans, that's pretty painful, I would say. But I mean, would you say that we deserved this win, or, you know, did Charlotte deserve something from this match?
Oh, that's always a good. The deserve thing is always a good question. Well, I mean, you know, I think we had our chances throughout the game. You could, Charlotte fans, you know, you could argue, they could definitely argue that they could have also easily had a second goal. But you know, if you look at the expected goals overall, it actually comes in at about 2-1, 1.99 to 0.99. So you know, I think Atlanta United did just enough, because yeah, at the end of the day, like you kind of mentioned on that last play, I think from Charlotte's defense, you did see some fatigue. And then it says too, like with Fuchs, he would have been one-on-one with Brooks Lennon or Tyler Wolf for most of the match. So he's not, that would have been pretty much his first time facing up a player looking to cut in. Also on the, I didn't see this at the time because, of course, I'm just watching the ball and Marini, but you can clearly see on the broadcast, like Josef making that run down the middle as that diagonal goes in, and
dragging a
Josef
couple defenders.
Yeah, exactly, and it leaves Mulroney one-on-one, totally one-on-one. And even though Christian Fuchs is a experienced former Premier League champion defender, it's tough, especially in the 96th minute. Charlotte had been defending for a good part of the game, and then Mercedes-Benz is a big field. It's difficult. It's difficult to defend for 90 minutes, which is why, like, I always argue that the whole sitting back thing is not as easy as it sounds, and I don't think Charlotte necessarily did that. But like Atlanta United did attempt balls over the top, and I think we're also maybe slightly unlucky that one of those situations didn't lead to another goal. So I mean, yeah, I think at the end of the day, Atlanta United deserved it because they had the quality in the starting lineup, obviously the quality coming off the bench. Obviously the bigger names there are Moreno and Almada, but even a player like Jake Morini, he probably starts for Charlotte right now. So, I think that there's a difference in quality as well, and I think that it probably just made a difference at the end of the day.
And also quite, I think maybe comedic to a degree, where after we score, all the Charlotte players, they just collapse to the ground.
Oh man.
Yeah, you kind of feel for them, but it's also like the in sync, like just falling down to their knees, and it's I ain't gonna lie, if there's a if there's a budding rivalry of any sort, we're gonna be using this image.
Yeah, right.
And so definitely. Go ahead.
No, see, Charlotte fans might disagree, but I think this is a great start to a rivalry if this is one. So, yeah, obviously, I know, Chris Smith did that article, which I thought was, I think it's good to at least have the conversation. But, yeah, I mean, I think there was a little bit, just enough edginess, good competitive game. And that's, I'm definitely looking forward to the next one in Charlotte.
Mm-hmm. Because there were enough mass confrontations as well that if you have that, it usually, like, if you think about the matches that we've had that in, it's usually when it's a little bit more contentious. And yeah, I mean, definitely of Red Bull, of Toronto, of Orlando, and yeah, those are the matches that we have played some kind of pretty tough matches. So it is ultimately, nail biter. Definitely way closer than it should have been scoreline wise. We probably should have put away a lot more of those chances that we had early on in the match, but we leave our home with 3 points, and yeah, I mean that's absolutely what was needed. We definitely should be putting away a team like Charlotte FC with some ease, especially with just how anemic, kind of most of that was. I definitely, looking at their play, I was just like, well, I mean, yeah, like you said, they're compact, but what they were trying to do was just basically play Route 1, and it's, like, that will work. You can smash and grab, but yeah, go ahead.
One thing I will say, in terms of how Charlotte were playing, I thought that the Atlanta United center backs, Franco and Campbell in this case, did well to defend in space. Because Atlanta United's positioning overall, I think, was aggressive, more up the field. And so, Charlotte did look to play on the counter. But for the most part, I thought the back line overall did a pretty good job of limiting those chances to where there weren't really too many, like, really good looks for Charlotte, if you think about it.
Yeah, they definitely were able to see out balls that were over the top to prevent them from being able to make anything of it. And so definitely, we did just enough, and we went home happy. And I think what's interesting here is some press conference talk about not only, well, Jake Mulroney was asked about the luck of the Irish, and yeah, he kind of like brushed that off really quickly of like, yeah, he doesn't believe in that really, and also it's like a weird saying for not really a common thing that they really believe in over there.
Yeah.
But so kind of maybe a like kind of a joke of a question there, but also yeah, what's interesting is Gonzalo Pineda talking about not only Almada but also Marcelino Moreno, where he's not exactly sure where they fit like positionally into the team, but he knows that they can play at different positions. So it will be interesting to see how he definitely does implement them into the squad and where they do play going forward. Because Marcelino Moreno made such a big impact in this match as he has been recently coming off the bench. It'll be very curious to see how he is deployed. But yeah, we'll just wrap a bow on this match, and our next match is against CF Montreal over the weekend, and we will have that match preview in the rest of this episode. But before that, let's get into the news. And the first bit of news is that yes, our EMLS player, one of our EMLS players, the Brazilian Paulo Neto, he became the EMLS Cup champion. We are just the city of champions, man. We just keep racking up those trophies. Whether you believe in EMLS or not, and whether the whole gaming thing is a sport to you, well, it's a competitive league, and everyone in the league, for the most part anyway, is involved in it. And our player won, so we'll take those W's any way we get them. So I
know. Paulo Neto obviously is our, I guess, second EMLS competitor. And it definitely seemed like he was getting closer to trophies. I think he'd had a couple like semifinal and final losses before this, so nice to see him get over the line. And yeah, to follow up your point about EMLS and I guess e-gaming in general, the last time I was back home in Trinidad, my cousin, I was hanging out with my cousin, and at one point he put on I forget which one, but it was one of those e-gaming competitive league things. I think it was the racing one, maybe. But either way, yeah, and he was kind of like telling me about like how big it was, and how much of an audience they had. I know that they've started building like arenas specifically for these competitions. So I say all that to say, like, it's definitely growing. I think it would be foolish for MLS to ignore, and I'm glad that Atlanta United actually take it seriously enough to where it seems like they kind of scouted Neto, and kind of like, because he seems really good, like the results are there, so not to poke too much fun at other teams, but like we've had MLS teams like use an NFL player who just like really likes video games, and that person didn't do well, obviously, because they're not a real gamer. So it's at the end of the day, like, my thing is, if you're gonna go into it, at least like take it seriously, at least try to do the best you can. So I think Atlanta United is doing that, and yeah, congratulations to Neto. I always kind of try to make it a point to see how he's doing. So I'm glad to see you able to pick up a W here.
Exactly, and it's also, yeah, it represents Atlanta United well, and it's also there's a lot of eyeballs on like e-gaming and all that. There are enormous amount of not only sponsorships and opportunities that I think it would be unwise of us not to do. So absolutely great points. But yeah, moving on from that, yes, Ozzy Alonso of course was cleared. He in terms of a third party independent sports cardiologist, they had pretty much said that he would be available, and he did play, and so it is definitely great news. That's it's not a lingering issue, even though he did say that he did kind of know about it in Seattle, apparently, and so or at least at a previous stop, and so it is something that the team hopefully did do their due diligence on, in that sense, and make sure that they knew about it. But so thankful that is not a very serious thing that will prevent him from playing. But
Right.
anyway, moving on from that, Atlanta United 2, they unfortunately fell in their first match to Louisville City FC. Essentially some super draftees made their professional debuts. Eric Centeno and then Grant Howard, and also Nicholas Firmino also earned his club debut. Conway also played, and definitely it's probably partially why that not only he didn't make the squad, but also was nowhere to be seen in that sense of it's this. Like, I think I heard some people say that they were upset that maybe Dom Dwyer wasn't brought on, and that Jake Mulroney was instead. But Jake Mulroney kind of showed them, I guess, a little bit. But
Right.
it is definitely, I would. It makes sense. Dom Dwyer did score that pretty good goal coming on as a sub, and so it's like, I think it shows that we've got weapons off the bench. That's
Exactly.
definitely a good thing. And moving on from that, Footy Mob, they tweeted out something that was I think pretty apropos as well, because we talked about what the derby might be if there was some like a budding rivalry, if there was a name for it, for maybe all of the South, in terms of Nashville, in terms of Charlotte, in terms of us. Maybe we would include the Florida teams, who knows. But either way, if it were a Royal Rumble, okay. I mean, I like that. Game of Thrones was also floated out by Chris Smith. Royal Rumble, now, okay. This is where that Footy Mob tweet comes in. And they say, quote, "If you don't like it, learn to love it," quoting Ric Flair. And they have the Southern Champions belt. In wrestling belts, it's like this golden, massive thing around your waist. I think it's perfect. I think it's something that, in terms of Royal Rumble, it just matches it completely. And to be the Royal Rumble champion, like, it encompasses not only the crown aspect, or the king's aspect, but it also encompasses a very rich history of wrestling in the South.
Yes.
I mean, basically, the Carolinas definitely have some wrestlers that are from there. Tennessee as well, for sure. But Georgia, there's a lot of wrestlers that are kind of based out of Marietta, not only like staying there, but also WCW made its kind of genesis from Georgia. I mean, it is apropos. I am all about it. If we're gonna do something like the Northwest, let's make this happen. I'm all about it. What do you think?
Yeah. I would, they have the whole Cascadia thing that includes Vancouver up there. Like, it'd be cool to have I guess sort of a little regional internal rivalry of like 3 or 4 teams, I guess. But I love the belt. I mean, of course we've talked about wrestling on this podcast before, but so like there's that nostalgia. I just love like the idea of the championship belt, like the symbol of it, and I think it's totally appropriate for the Southeast. So yeah, it'd be cool if there was just like a little mini table, and at the end of the season, the winner of that kept the belt for a year or whatever. It's like, in general, I think that, on a serious note, that MLS needs to like lean into its quirks, right? That's something I've talked about before, and I think little regional rivalries is great, because like we were talking about this with Chris Smith, right? The fact that England's not that big, and so you road trip to every game, and you have the little the rivalries that basically everyone's close together. So it's kind of like the rivalries become natural. Like you hear about like the London derbies and all that. Those are that's always like a bigger game in that sense. And so like if we could like replicate that in MLS. I think it would be good for the league. I think it'd be good for the entertainment. I think it's a way to engage the fans, right? We had Charlotte fans at the Benz. It was it was a very cool vibe.
They cheered very loudly for their first goal in their history, and
they looked like they had balled out. And what I noticed too after the goal, I didn't see what happened, but I looked up and it looked kind of smoky, and then you could see like the bright orange shirt wearing stewards in there as well. So I was like, oh, they're probably doing some things they probably should not have done. But
yeah, snuck some smoke in there, which yeah, how do they do that? Yeah, but I guess it's a little more easy to do that probably nowadays because they're not really like frisking too hard, so it's a little bit of that. But yes, please be safe out there, guys. Like that's yeah, please don't do anything, guys. Now that you know that, but try to preserve the good times here. But
yeah, exactly. But I mean, no, they showed out. They showed out, so it was good. Like, just I think any way the league can encourage that kind of thing. Minus the breaking the rules, but yeah,
indeed.
Engage the fans.
Indeed. So anyway, we'll wrap a bow on that news and get us into the match preview. It's this Saturday, and it's the 19th. 4 p.m. at the Benz against CF Montreal. And yeah, CF Montreal, they are winless in the league, but yeah, they did beat Santos FC in the Champions League. So it seems like maybe all of their eggs are in that basket at the moment, trying to make sure prioritize competitions as teams are wont to do. But yeah, in terms of the team wise for CF Montreal, it seemed like the buy-in was there. Their new head coach definitely brought them a little bit more solidity than, to my chagrin, Thierry Henry did. And yeah, there was definitely you could see some chemistry in there, and there definitely is going to be maybe some fireworks that will pop off between Wanyama and Josef Martinez again. Hopefully not too much. But yeah, definitely, you had the little choke fest, essentially that happened, and some of the previous matches. So definitely some contention amongst the players on these two sides. We'll hopefully see them behave and see no red cards. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, you were about to say that?
No, yeah, it'll be curious to see if we even see Wanyama, because he did not play this past weekend, but he did play versus Cruz Azul, who they're facing now in the Champions League. So, Mihailovic is another player that, has been playing the Champions League. Did not play this past weekend. So they do have a midweek match, second leg versus Cruz Azul, so they're down 1-0. So you figured they would put all their eggs in that basket. But it's curious to see what they'll have left in the tank and who they'll have available for the matchup with Atlanta on Saturday.
Indeed. I mean, yeah, there are some key acquisitions that they brought in. Alistair Johnston, Kai Kamara, definitely a MLS veteran that I would say
he is the MLS veteran.
Yeah, he's been everywhere,
right?
Besides here, and I mean, there has been some whispers in the past of like, Kai Kamara, yeah, maybe.
If they had signed him this past off, if Atlanta United had signed him this past off season, I would not have been upset at all.
Yeah, exactly. Like consummate professional and a guy that knows the league clearly, and we'll see how much he has left to give, but. Definitely, in terms of firepower in general, they have some guys that can really play. Now it's just a matter of how deep are they, and the predictions don't really favor that they will be able to maybe fight in every single competition, and so they pretty much have them as high as 4th and as low as 12th in terms of MLS riders. So very fascinating to see that. Yeah, there's a pretty big range in which they think they will be able to finish. I think the average maybe that they may probably finish somewhere like 6th, 7th. So we'll see if they will be really competitive in the league. But yeah, getting into the Saturday match and what we think is going to happen. Now, yeah, that starting 11, in terms of getting through the lines together. It might actually be. This is probably a pretty difficult one to predict because there are some players that have performed off the bench really well, and then the guys that were in the starting 11 maybe not doing as much as we need them to. So maybe it's high time to make the changes, and start to find our best 11. So in that sense, of course, also Miles Robinson is back from that red card suspension. So
Right.
yeah, Guzan between the sticks, but who's your defensive line?
So I think the defensive line. So I think Robinson comes back in, and then other than that, it's unchanged. So I think it's going to be Hernandez right back, Robinson in for Campbell. Campbell I think has been holding it down, but when everyone's available, I think you go with Robinson and Franco in the middle. And Gutman, man, he is just talk about consummate professional. Fighter, workhorse, all those cliches. I love what he brings to the left back position, and yeah, I think he continues.
Yeah, definitely brings a different element to it. And also, I mean, shout out to George Bello getting his first start in Bundesliga for Arminia Bielefeld.
Oh, yeah.
And against, Borussia Dortmund. Yeah,
I know.
Huge. So, they didn't get the result, but definitely congrats to the homegrown, and good to see him be able to get those starting minutes. I agree for the most part, except for, Robinson comes in, Franco persists. It's gonna be harsh on Campbell, but it is that. I mean, Franco, former DP. It's like, you're not gonna keep him out. Now I have Lennon coming in for Ronald Hernandez. I think, Lennon just did a little bit more when he was in the squad and playing, and so I think he's probably in terms of Ronald Hernandez, he hasn't lost his spot, but I think it's definitely one of those, like, I think there needs to be a little bit of, let's see what we have here in terms of, like, the difference fully. But, I could easily see Ronald Hernandez play as that right back as well. Into midfields, I think we have something fairly similar. So let's talk through it together. I mean, Alonso, is that defensive midfielder. Josetu for both of us as well. Is Sejdic part of that equation for you?
No, he's not. He misses out. I think Moreno comes in. I think at this point, Moreno's at least got to be close to starting, and it's just going to be difficult to continue leaving him out, especially when we don't have an Aruju. Ahmad is still finding his feet as well. I think in a lot of ways, and we saw this when he came on, right? He's like kind of the missing element. I think with his overall work rate, his passing certainly, and he's just somebody who can kind of drive the counter. And so I think, I have Alonso and Josetu is there as well, kind of making up that midfield three. I think Moreno, I actually think he'll play off to the left a little bit, and because I think from there it'll be easier for him to drive towards the middle of the field. You can look for those diagonals like he did on the game winner. And he can combine with the winger on the left, which we'll get into in a second. But I think as a little tactical, thing, I think that's what we'll see.
Yeah. So maybe more dual eights. I think for me, he maybe plays a little bit more of the 10 for me. And so, Josetu maybe more on the right, Alonso on that left, and then, in terms of the wingers, then, it might be pretty interesting who, gets the start. Who do you have?
Yeah, so I think Lennon actually lines up a right wing again. As I mentioned, with him, you get the athleticism. I think, especially when he plays on the right, you're getting somebody that is going to stretch the field, that's going to play in crosses, is going to be an option for the diagonal. I think Lennon kind of retains his spot. Martinez, of course, in the middle, and I think Almada will start at left wing. I think that Atlanta United should win this game, and I think that this is maybe an opportunity to get somebody like Almada some minutes. Maybe he plays for like an hour and then is subbed off. But especially at home, on a climate controlled, easy turf kind of situation, might be a perfect situation for him to kind of, show some of his stuff. And I think that on the left wing, he can kind of combine with Moreno a bit. Amada could, kind of go into the middle sometimes, or, maybe operate on the left. I don't know. I think that's, from what we saw versus Charlotte, I think Montreal will probably try to do the same thing. I don't expect Montreal to be able to hold up the resistance as much as Charlotte did. But I think that with this lineup in my head, it's a way to keep the pressure on them. It's a way to make them work and keep them stretched.
Yeah. And that very well could happen. I think, very interesting options. And shout out to Lennon in terms of like finding some good balls with Josef Martinez, finding the service that he needs, because there was one where Lennon he found Josef Martinez at that near post, making that near post run that he's so good at making, and we nearly scored that second goal. Through Josef Martinez's his play there, but
Right.
I mean, it's like their keeper was definitely making some good saves. Some of them directly at him. That one from Josef Martinez definitely not. Like, that was very, very good. Josef Martinez was almost smiling at just how good it was. They even like swapped shirts after the game because of that. Like,
Right. Yeah.
So definitely something that's Lennon, more of that, please. But I think he's doing that from right back for me, and so for me it's Jake Mulroney who he gets that game winner. He also gets that starting spot as a reward, and him cutting in Lennon. He's out wide. Giving that service from outright. It's a good little balance of not only inside outside, and Almada also, I agree, gets that start, gets like you're saying, maybe that first half, maybe half an hour, and maybe someone else will come in, maybe Wolf will come in, or another player to spell him. But I think definitely it'll be interesting to see. Because he made his MLS debut, but didn't make a huge impact. He got on the ball a little bit, and you could see the quality, but there wasn't really much to kind of go off of very much. But it will be very interesting to see if he does get the start and for how long. But yes, of course, Josef Martinez up top for me as well. And so definitely a very strong lineup, very attacking lineup. I think against a side that maybe kind of more defensive, because definitely of the personnel that they're going to be able to deploy with a midweek match. So it will be interesting, I'm very curious to see what you as the viewer and listener would be thinking. So get at us in those comments below. But that gets us to the score prediction. And what do you have, Mark?
Well, I've been hinting at it. I'm pretty bullish this week, so I'm going with 3-0. I just don't see. I think that this is the kind of game where Atlanta United should be able to show out a bit. I'm just not seeing the ways in which Montreal can really, would be in a position to stand up to Atlanta in this case. They've been playing midweek matches since the beginning. They've had to play Mexico teams. Like I mentioned, they're currently in a tie with Cruz Azul. And I just think they'll probably be reeling from that a bit. And Atlanta's getting healthy, and that's what we saw versus Charlotte. I think was the most encouraging thing. It was the grit despite the number of absences. And, this week we should get some of those players back. And, I'm really backing Atlanta United to really show out in this game.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. I'm less bullish, and because I think us chopping and changing, still trying to figure it out a little bit. Yeah, there will still be some like maybe chemistry things that we're gonna try to work through, and I think you have an exact same scoreline as this past match, 2-1. It's we have the goods. Maybe we're still trying to find the bearings, but it's enough to get all 3 points, and we defend the bends again, hopefully, and hopefully that is the case. But let us know in the comments below what you guys think that might be as well. But that pretty much does it for the entire show, except for the question of the day. And the question of the day is, who's your front 3 or 4 that plays against Montreal. I think it's a very, very tough decision, and so I'm very curious to see what everybody else is thinking, because there's a lot of options, a lot of possibilities, which, I mean, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Not really sure, actually. I mean, it's, you know, we definitely, I think, when we have everyone healthy and playing in, like, they're fit and in good form, I think we pretty much know probably who that front four is going to be, but at the moment, yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty. So, yeah, who is in that front three or front four? Let us know in those comments below. So, guys, that is the episode. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. And for Mark, I'm AJ. Thank you so much for watching.